Hi, boys and girls. I sent you two links to two videos, and now I'm starting to record the third. The first two videos, I began to go over the assignment, and the assignment was the factum that we have to write to submit to BJEC to be able to write a written assignment for the Moot court. So the first three, this distancing of Rabbeinu Tam, is it normative? Number two, the two versions of the Rashba, and number three, about the pros and cons of using social media. We're now coming to number four. Is permission from a Beit Din or recognized authority in Jewish law necessary or a prerequisite for a social media campaign of this nature? So let us move on and get into the video. Okay. Rabbeinu Tam talks about this issue of a rabbinic authority or a Beit Din in the conditions for the harchakot, the distancing, and he says that if the woman says ma'us alai, namely, I find him repulsive, I can't get into bed with this man, you believe her, and he must divorce her. In Israel, that is when they can apply the sanctions of removing his driver's license, removing his passport so he shouldn't be able to travel, removing his banking restrictions, etc., etc. But the rabbis were reluctant for him to put the condition that he must divorce her, because why? Anybody remember? Because if he must divorce her, then it's a forced divorce. So there is an issue here. We want to compel him to divorce her, but we cannot force him, and we have to kind of skate in between. Il faut patiner. We demand that he give a get. We don't force that he give a get. She is not like a slave. She has rights. And you cannot force her to live with him if she is disgusted. You cannot force her to have marital relations with a man who she finds repugnant. Rabbeinu Tam was European, and yet his fame is going through the world, and this is an essential piece to the Agunot legislation. In fact, at the end of the piece, Rabbeinu Tam says that the court has a right to extend these sanctions, the harchakot, as must be needed. Now, we have some time, though I can't see how much, because for some reason the meter, here it is. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes. For the remainder of these videos, we have two important articles to go through. One, rabbinic coercion. Now that you understand what it means to force him, that you can't force him, responsibilities and limitations. It's a very important article written by Rabbi Alfred Cohen. And a second article, maybe even more important, written by a woman, Aliza Bazak, Shaming in Rabbinical Court Rulings. I'm going to start going through the article by Rabbi Cohen. This is not going to be so entertaining because in some parts I'll simply read to you what he writes. But this is going to form the backbone of your article, of your captum, of your factum. So, in 2001, Rabbinical Council of America, which is the Orthodox organization of rabbis and synagogues of North America issued a resolution imposed on one who withholds issuance of a receipt of a get. In it, the RCA, the Rabbinical Council of America, seeks to foster communal or at least congregational measures of shunning, embarrassing a recalcitrant spouse in the hope that the social and economic pressures, together with synagogue laws of respect, will eventuate the issuance of a receipt of a get. So the RCA is looking for help for congregants in the synagogue to compel the husband to give a get. A failed marriage dragging on for years because somebody refuses to give or receive a get is an overwhelming majority of these cases. It is the husband who withholds the get, often due to anger, decide to get even, to take money. Horror stories of women who are chained, Agunot, to a man despite a secular divorce. He's still her husband in the eyes of Jewish law. As a married woman, the Agunah cannot remarry. This awareness has led and may further lead to desperate measures on the part of some women. The resolution of the RCA is a response to brutalization of women and, an attempt to find a way to help them within the confines of halakha. The RCA is not alone in trying to find loopholes in Jewish law in order to punish or take advantage upon another Jew, an abhorrent, despicable phenomenon which must be treated with utter revulsion. And we have a Rabbi Eliyahu Henkin, who has since passed away, and he uses extremely strong language to get a get, and he calls it a man that deprives his wife of a get is akin to bloodshed. And the worry is that if this poor woman can't get married and can't live with anybody, is dying at home in loneliness, is this going to lead to sexual immorality? Is this woman going to live with somebody else out of wedlock? So these are the problems that the article is dealing with. According to the Torah, in Dvarim 24, in order for a marriage to be dissolved, the husband must give his wife a bill of divorce. If both agree to end the marriage, a get is a simple procedure. But if a man is unwilling, creates a barrier, inasmuch as the biblical verse clearly specified this giving has to be on his own volition, and now you see the tension that I keep referring to. Compel, but not force. Certain situations when a woman simply refuses to live with her husband. Okay, and here there is a twist. First, she's called a rebellious wife. Well, that's not unique, because if the husband refuses to go to bed with his wife, he's also called a rebellious husband. So he is a mored, and she is a moredet. But she can claim ma'usalai. I find him repugnant. Mored is the term used for the husband. There is a considerable body of halachic material dealing with this situation from different angles. Rambam, the Maimonides, says in his Mishnah Torah, such a case, the husband must divorce her, for a woman cannot be forced to live with somebody who repels her. Sounds very avant-garde, Rambam. The woman who withholds marital relations from her husband is called a moredet. We ask her why she rebelled against him, and if she says that he disgusts me, I cannot willingly be intimate with him, we force him to divorce her. can't force her to have sexual relations with somebody she hates. She leaves the marriage without her ktubah. She doesn't get the compensation, but she does get to get out of the marriage. If the husband wants to stay married, to stay with her, the Beit Din forces him to give her a get. So, for example, a woman might approach a Beit Din with the claim, my father chose this guy, I can't stand him. I was a kid at the time, I didn't know better, but I never liked him. If I find him repulsive, want to get out, according to Rambam, under such circumstances, the rabbis must compel the husband, compel, not force, even against his will, to grant her freedom, against his will. Moreover, if the woman does not claim that he disgusts me, but bases her refusal to live with him on leave him with other grounds, the attitude of Jews has been that if no reconciliation is possible, there's no point in trying to save the marriage, because it should be dissolved. So there is a difficulty here of how Maimonides looks upon it. But it changes a little bit, and at one point the law is concerned, maybe she just fell in love with somebody else and she's just messing around. The get in such a case is invalid. Okay? Husband must act of his own free will. If Beit Din forces him, we accomplish nothing. Divorce, overt compulsion, this is central dilemma which creates the Agunot predicament. The spirit of the woman's right, much as halacha seeks to protect the woman, it cannot remain oblivious to the reality that the situation can easily be manipulated. Namely, halacha understands, maybe she has a lover. What do we do now? So, according to Rambam, a woman who remarries after receiving such a document is actually a married woman, because she's committing adultery. Let's say the Beit Din listens to her and gives her her get, but it's only because she wants to mess around with another guy, then she's considered a married woman and her children are considered mamzerim. This is rather important, because it's not just, she loves me not. On the other hand, the Beit Din also has to consider whether the failure to facilitate relief for the woman claiming she despises her husband might goad her out of frustration or anger to be unfaithful to her. Shema teitze letarbut ra'ah, she's going to go to a bad culture. This eventually has to be factored into the actions of that the Beit Din will take, even if they suspect that she is claiming ma'usalai as a subterfuge to get her divorce. So I'm going to stop here, and we will continue. I'll decide with Moratova, and she will let you know how we are continuing from this point.